Good evening, everyone. Cheers. First of the week. Flake. Anyway. Hey, dear me, how are we all doing? What sort of day you had? It's been a busy one for me. It's been a busy week, but that's no change, is it? Got a little bit of news that I'm going to be sharing with you this evening. Relating to the Zoom Blues Masterclass that I keep mentioning, and basically it's happening, and I'm just kind of putting the finishing touches to it, and I'll tell you some details about the timing of that as we go along. But first, let's, as is the tradition, take the register. Who's in tonight? I see we've got Johnny Random first in. Hello, everybody. Tonight I am not staying sober, I promise. Well, you and me the same, mate. The week I've had, I think I'm owed a good night on the ale. David Evans, the Essex Cat, Mike Hurley, John Ross says hello from Florida. Well, hello back to you, mate. Vincent Brennan, Craig Stamen. Oh, and I see Mike's in, China Guitar Skeptic. How are you, Mike? I hope all is continuing to go well for you. Malcolm Spillett, yes, I've just been doing a little bit of editing on that video we did together, Malcolm. That's coming up. Is it next week or is it the week after? I can't remember. I shall have to have a look. Jason Carter is in, Mike Hurley, Nancy Davis, Colin Falcon, how are you, mate? Deco Dude, Lee Morano, John Channing, Michael Palmer, how are you, Michael? Steve Muskie's in, how are you? S. Wayne Scott, Thomas Mulvaney, Brad Matthews. Just seeing your email, by the way, Thomas. I will take a look at that and give you some feedback tomorrow, mate. Chip Young, Malcolm Spillett, I've said you already, haven't I? Ian Clark, Peter Collins, Patrick Becker, Scott Guitars, how are you, Dan? Dan's just sent me some pictures of the Scott Guitars, my signature model, number 3. It's on its way to some lucky person very soon. And where are we? Sledge is in, and Billy's in, Guitar Guy. Deco Dude, sorry, I don't think I mentioned you earlier. And Bottleneck Bob to round things off. Well, as I say, I hope everybody's had a fantastically, enjoyable week. Now, I'm just going to grab my phone because, as I say, I want to check which videos I've got planned for this week. I am working on so many videos at the moment that I forget which ones are scheduled for when. And let's have a quick look at this. Yes, well, I can tell you that no video tomorrow, but Sunday we're looking at, if I just lean like that, you can kind of see that Squire Classic Vibe Strat that I unboxed yesterday. Well, the video went up yesterday. There's a little bit more of a kind of tone test of that guitar, hearing it in a mix, basically. A few people have said that the tones of that guitar didn't sound particularly good in the video. I was reading that in the comments, and so I watched the video again, and I got to say, I agree. It didn't sound particularly, enticing, it has to be said, but it sounded better in the room when I was recording it. I just used my usual settings, so I don't know what happened there, but it's... it didn't do itself justice in yesterday's video, so there's a video showing it in hopefully a little bit more positive light on Sunday. Then on Monday, basically a viewer request. We're going to be looking at James Honeyman Scott solo. Somebody a couple of weeks ago on the live stream said, how about doing Kid by the Pretenders? So that's Monday's solo. Then I got an email, a couple of weeks ago, Somebody apparently thinks that I'm funny in the in my videos. I don't try and be; it just obviously, you know, must come out that way. But anyway, somebody's saying, "What comedy do you like?" So that's Top 5 Tuesday of my favourite comedy skits and stand-up routines and sketches and stuff like that. Then on Wednesday, I can't for the life of me think what I'm doing on Wednesday. Oh yes, tips for beginner guitarist. That was another viewer request video, you know, kind of any sage words of advice to anybody just starting to learn to play the guitar. So that's Wednesday. Then on Thursday, I'm just checking here. On Thursday, that is when I shall be having a chat with Malcolm Spillett. We had a good old natter on Zoom a little while ago, and he basically showed me his guitar collection, and he's got some really, really nice instruments there, and some unusual ones as well, which is what makes the video interesting. Keep a watch out for a certain you know, Telecaster that looks like it came from a blacksmith shop, and I'll say no more. But those are the videos that are coming up this week. Comedy. I actually thought I was watching a Vic and Bob sketch. Tip for beginner guitarists: get the guitar set up by a professional. Yes, you know, although I would say you have to at some point dive in and have a go yourself, but it's not really kind of day one, lesson one sort of stuff, is it? Setting up a guitar. Greetings from Korea, says Matthew Spencer. Well, greetings from Redcar. Anyone wanting to learn modes, grab John's Modes Made Easy course on Udemy. Very, very good, no fluff. Well, thank you very much. Always pleased to accept a recommendation. You may have noticed, by the way, the lack of, you know, a foamy head on that. It wasn't quite as on that beer. It wasn't quite as bad as usual. That's because I'm not on the Carling tonight. I'm on the Galahad. Aldi's finest 4%. It's perfectly quaffable. It does the job, and you know, kind of goes well with a beer goes well with a curry rather on a Friday. Where are we? So Monty Python video coming up on the channel, and well, do you know, I can't remember if I did any Python on that. I should have done. It's like all of these kind of top 5 lists. First of all, I do the videos that far in advance that I often forget what they're about and what's in them by the time they go up. But all these top 5 videos, I'm lucky if I can start off with as few as 50 things that I have to narrow down to 5. And, you know, whichever way you slice it and dice it, there's always going to be stuff that you wanted to leave in but couldn't. You know, hence whenever I do these top 5 videos, people always say, but what about this and what about that? Well, you know, on a different day when I'd maybe had something different for breakfast, or was wearing different colour socks and was therefore just slightly different in my mindset or whatever, then maybe other things would make the cut. But these are, you know, the way they end up, and that's it. You know, they are what they are. And as I say, in all of these top 5 videos, it's this is my opinion on this day. This is, you know, ask me again next week or the next month or tomorrow, and it might be all different or somewhat different. Anyway. And hi, John. I'm on one of your local beers tonight from the is that the NY? Is that the North Yorkshire Brewery? I think it might be. I don't know. But it certainly wouldn't be local to me if it was the NY stood for New York, would it? Monty Python's cheese shop for the win. Yeah, if I'm going to pick my favourite Python, it would have to be the Four Yorkshiremen, because, you know, that was each one of them was a bit like me dad. You know. Do you think that rockabilly can be played on any style of guitar, or do you think that hollow body is a must? No, I don't think a hollow body is a must. I think you can play absolutely stonking good rockabilly on a Telecaster, because you can play anything on a Telecaster. And you may remember during that sort of early 80s rockabilly craze, those of us who were old enough may remember a British rockabilly band called the Jets. Three brothers, three siblings, the Cotton Brothers, and the guitar player in that band played Telecaster. It was your typical kind of rockabilly revival band where they all had, you know, the kind of the obligatory DA haircut, the quiff, and you know, there was the guy standing there with the double bass, which for many of those bands that was a prop. You know, you actually listen carefully to the records, and it's actually like a bass guitar that's being played. But you know, when they're on top of the pops or whatever, it's the stand there with the big old bass fiddle. And the guitarist in that band, as I say, played a Telecaster, and they were pretty good. They were obviously signed because, you know, the Stray Cats had a couple of hits, so all the record labels were going around hoovering up anybody that sounded remotely similar. But yeah, I mean, Matchbox, that was another band from that era, weren't they? I wonder what happened to them. No, but funny you should mention that. Bass at Night, Rockabilly Rebel wasn't one of theirs. Rockabilly Rebel was Matchbox. And that was an album back then that I absolutely loved. Their album Midnight Dynamos. I shall have to have a look for that on Spotify and just kind of give it another listen. But do you get like me? Do you get sort of a bit nervous when you go and check out something that you used to love and haven't heard, or, you know, like movies and TV shows that you used to love when you were a kid, and you go back and check them out again in, you know, when you kind of decades later, and it's always a bit worrying that it's not as good as you remember, isn't it? You know, so I shall check it out. I shall go back and check out that Midnight Dynamos album, if it's even on Spotify. I haven't checked. Whatever happened to Dave Edmonds? Well, he's still about. He's still touring. Or pre, you know, all the kind of madness that we've been under for, you know, the last however many months it's been, year and a half. You know, he was still kind of getting out there and treading the boards. He seemed to be cropping up every year on that Jules Holland Hootenanny. In New Year. Oh, I've just seen we've got Mr. Hoggett in. How are you, Steve? I must have missed you earlier. What happened to Noel Edmonds? Yeah, well, he presented, what was it, Deal or No Deal, didn't he? And then even that got axed. Well, we throw some thumbs up, folks. Let's get it to 100 at least. Oh, you're very kind. You're very kind. Yes, let's put you up on screen there, James. I should have mentioned this earlier. Quick shout out for Alan Lancaster, the bassist from Status Quo, who died recently. Yes, I don't think it was yesterday, was it? I read that in the paper earlier on in the week. But for me, you know, that Status Quo, I mean, when they sort of came back with the new lineup in, what was it, 86, 87? Because they had that album back to back, didn't they? And then they did the Farewell Tour and a big gig at Milton Keynes Bowl, and that was it. They were calling it quits. That wasn't that, you know, they weren't going to do any more. And then they came back in '86, and it was just it was essentially just Parfitt and Rossi plus session musicians, and it was just like, I don't know. I didn't like it as much. It wasn't the proper Status Quo. Even I suppose I could. You know, the classic sort of, you know, John Coughlin, Alan Lancaster, Rossi and Parfitt, that was Status Quo. That's, you know, all the good stuff. on the level, albums like that, rocking all over the world. For me, that was cool. When it started getting around to like, Margarita time and, all rag blues and stuff, I was starting to lose interest a bit by then, to be honest. Four Yorkshiremen wasn't Python. I'm sure it was. I'm sure I've seen that on Python. Are you sure, Ian? I'm sure I've seen that being. It was. Well, I shall have to check that out. John Mayall was supposed to be coming to Stuttgart next year, but he's announced his retirement from touring at 87. What a legend! Yeah, well, when you get to that age, I suppose it's time to hang up your boots, isn't it? Luxury, says Dash Chef. Solo for Rollover, lay down, John. Yeah, I've been thinking about doing some more core. So I've only done one core solo in all the time I've been doing solos on the channel, and that was Rocking All Over the World. And it's been a while, I'm just saying, it's been a while since I've done any Gary Moore. So, if you like a bit of Gary, I am going to do let me tell you what solos. This is a glimpse into my kind of future solos. I guess the solos that I've got all in the can and ready to upload are at the moment Gunsmoke by Molly Hatchet, Back in the USSR by the Beatles, Another Girl, Another Planet by The Only Ones. I've got the Jimmy Ryan solo from Carly Simon's You're So Vain. That's all ready to go. Yes, you'd forgotten there was a guitar solo on that song, hadn't you? So did I until I heard it. And a cracker of a solo by Davy Johnson from Elton John's Kiss the Bride. So those are the solos that are kind of ready to go at the moment. I like to have about a month's worth in reserve. So that's those are the ones there. The next one I'm going to kind of take the wrapper off is probably going to be James Burton's solo on Hello Mary Lou. So because I got a request to do that one. Right. I see we're all talking about the Four Yorkshiremen sketch. I'm sure, I mean, maybe it was, yes, I think, yeah, it was done pre-Python, on, was it Not Only But Also, or That Was the Week That Was, or something like that, and then they redid it as Python. I will tell you one of the sketches that I referenced in Tuesday's video. Those of you who know which one I'm talking about will get it from just one sentence. If I just tell you, I'm playing all the right notes, then you'll know which sketch I'm talking about there. That one's coming up on Tuesday. I'm not reenacting the sketches. I'm just doing it like I normally do the top 5 videos where I blether on for about 10, 15 minutes about why I like them, Hi, John. Greetings from Oxford. When you did gigs in pubs, how did you deal with stage fright? Any tips? Oh, excuse me, knocking the mic there. Well, my first gigging experience, like standing up in front of an audience, was when I was at school, and it was in school assemblies. And, standing up there on the school stage in front of all of your mates who were just kind of waiting for an excuse to erupt into howls of laughter because you made a bit of a knob of yourself. That was a good schooling. If you can stand that, then you can, you're pretty much golden, really. So I never really got stage fright in pubs because it's like, well, these people are all strangers, I'm never going to meet them again, so it doesn't really matter if I suck. And quite a lot of the time I did. But one little tip I will give you is because what can be, a bit sort of off-putting is if there is a fantastic guitar player on your local circuit, and he gets all of the adulation and all of the plaudits and everything, and you're tuning up and you're ready to go on and do your first number, and you look down from the stage and you see that guy's in the audience and he's just kind of sat there going, okay, it's happened to me. It's like, oh my God, I've got to play tonight because I've got to play well tonight because that guy's in the audience. All you have to tell yourself is, yeah, but I'm gigging tonight and he's not. And that just kind of makes it disappear in a heartbeat. It's just, you just got to get up there and do the business, enjoy yourself. John Lord actually talked about this, because John Lord apparently used to suffer really badly from stage fright. And he said in an interview once that the first thing he used to do when he went on stage was just forget the audience were there, and it was just him jamming music with his pals. And if you can kind of take that attitude, then that's probably as good a way as any. If you mess up, just glare at the bassist. Yeah, I've done that once or twice. If the audience hears a bum note and everybody just glares at the bass player, and oh, did you see that there? He must have dropped one. My first gig, I just played the things I could. My mate, who was a great guitarist, gave me great support. I was so nervous, but really enjoyed it in the end. Yeah, probably the gig where I was the most nervous was back in 1997, and I was a seasoned gigging veteran by then. And Mr. Hoggett will know these two chaps whose name I'm going to mention. There are two absolutely knockout guitar players on the circuit round here on Teesside. One is a chap called Andy Power, who can play country like Albert Lee. He can play jazz like Wes Montgomery. He can play metal like Yngwie Malmsteen. It's just, he's sickeningly good. And the other guy is a chap called Graham Russell, who had a very, very brief brush with fame when he almost became a member of Whitesnake in, I think, the early 90s. Absolutely stonkingly good guitar player. And basically there was a bit of a jam night going on, and I was there and these two guys were there, and at one point I found myself on stage with them, and there was like a three-way guitar duel going on between me, little old me, with my one fast lick that tends to make it into every solo that I play, and these two guys, and Andy Power's doing the whole kind of double-handed kind of multi-fingered tapping, and Graham's doing his kind of his Van Halen stuff and everything. And I thought, I'm not getting involved in this, so I just kind of stood at the back of the stage and strummed some bar chords for 5 minutes, and that was I thought, I'm not getting involved in this kind of arms race. When they all turn, let's put you up on screen, Steve. Steve, where's it gone? Oh, there we go. When they all turn up is a bit scary. Lovely chaps. Ace stuff. Would have loved a video of that. Yeah, it was. I think it was a birthday party for a chap as well. You'll know as well, Steve. Mr. Ray Cook. I think it was his birthday bash we were playing at one time. Anyway, moving on. What do you think of the weight relief on the new Gibsons? Good idea or not? Well, I don't know. And let me tell you why I don't know. Because I've never played 1959 Gibson Les Paul standard, that didn't have weight relief. and moreover, I've never played one of those and compared it to a new Les Paul that has weight relief and done a kind of side-by-side comparison. You know, plenty of people seem to say that it doesn't make that much, if any, difference. And those people know more about Les Paul. You know, they're more of a Les Paul aficionados than I am. All I can tell you is that the only Les Paul style guitar that I've owned and wanted to keep is that one you can see behind me, that humble little Harley Benton. There, I've owned 7 Les Paul style guitars over the years. 2 of them were actual Gibsons, a couple of Epiphones and various other, kind of copies. And the only one that I've not sort of fallen out of love with in pretty short order is that Harley Benton, and that has weight relief, and it's probably the most comfortable single cut, let's call it, that I've played. And as you heard in Wednesday's video, it don't sound too shabby neither. Where are we? Let's scroll back up the chat and see what I've missed while I've been blethering. I saw a gig where when solo playing, one of the band members pulled the soloist's trousers down to give him credit. He kept playing. Yeah, well, I haven't had that happen to me, but, I was in a band one time where the singer used to pull those kind of stunts. I seem to remember at one point he got a big, those big kind of rubber spiders you can get from joke shops. He put one of those on my head while I was mid-solo, and, freaked me out a little bit, but I kept going. Let's put this up, says Vince. Hi, John. What's the most rememberable show you've been a part of as a guitarist? Well, memorable for what reason? There's plenty of gigs that I would rather not remember. But in turn, I think I know what you're getting at. The most kind of the one that makes me stick in my head. I was in what most people would call a cabaret band. But we, in this part of the world, we call them club bands. In about 92, 93-ish. And we had this roadie who was a bit of a lad. I've mentioned him earlier in a video that I did years ago. I think it was called Tales from Clubland. Anyway, Gary, or Gash, as he used to prefer to be called, was he was like a little pit bull of a man, absolutely covered in tattoos. I mean, I've got this one here, and I've got this one up here as well. But his were all, the kind of, the sort of needle and cartridge pen type tattoos. He was a little monster. He'd rather have a fight than a feed, this lad. And we actually worked him into the show, where he used to pretend to be a member of the audience and barge his way on stage and, then do a song with us. And it got us paid off once at one club, because, well, not paid off, but the power was cut because the stupid concert chairman didn't realise it was all part of the act. And he was on the verge of calling the bobbies as well, because of this lunatic who barged his way on stage and was being a nuisance. So that's probably, and we used to pull that act at pretty much every club we played. So that one springs to mind. But after with the sort of down the telescope of time, many decades later, they all just sort of blur into one. Might be an idea though to try and do some sort of video about, because I haven't done a video about my old gigging days in a while, and see if I can remember a few stories and possibly embellish them for comedic effect, to kind of tell a few tales. Yeah, I've got the cogs are turning now, so I shall think about that one. After a curry, Gash got gas. Yeah. Oh, Nigel's in. How are you, Nigel? You got to be there, mate. My mate said the blockheads were crazy on stage, John. A lot of fun. Yeah, that's the thing. The blockheads. I mean, when people are talking about, fantastic bass players, and when I did that all-star kind of, fantasy band video, there's another one of those coming up, by the way. I was debating about bass players, and I almost went with Norman Watt-Roy from the Blockheads, because people talk about, Jaco Pastorius and Stanley Clarke and Mark King and, all the usual suspects who are deservedly, kind of praised when it comes to bass players. Nobody ever seems to talk about Norman Watt-Roy, and he's a fantastic bass player. Gash was Rab Nesbitt's son. Yes, Anton. Yes, have you seen that Warren Hewitt video where he breaks "Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick Down," where he kind of does that, produce like a pro, songs that changed history or whatever it's called. That's a really, really good informative video. AC/DC, If You Want Blood, awesome. That's how I learned to play. Yeah, that's a fantastic album. There are certain albums that always remind me. Albums always remember music. If we musicians, music in general reminds us of the time and the place, doesn't it? Where we first encountered it. But the first Dire Straits album, and AC/DC, If You Want Blood, and a few other albums that are all albums that remind me of going for long, long walks in the Lake District, because I used to live over there. And if it was Monday and I didn't have the rent to pay the landlady, I used to go for a long walk to avoid her, because I knew by the time, if when it got to about 2:00 in the afternoon, she'll have been in the pub, and she was, she was asleep by then, So I used to go for a long walk to avoid the landlady, and with the old Sony Walkman, using the Bic biro to fast forward the tape as you did in those days. Those albums always remind me of kind of keeping out of the way of Linda, the landlady, because I didn't have the rent that day. Norman plays with Wilco still now. Yeah, I saw Wilco on, again, we were talking about it earlier, the Hootenanny, the Jules Holland show. Gosh, it will have been about 2 or 3 years ago. No, longer than that. When he brought out that album with Roger Daltrey, it was around about then, and this was after that, because he'd had the sort of the operation, and turned out he didn't have weeks to live. So on there, and I was surprised to see him on there, actually, because it was like one of those things. Oh, I'd forgotten about him, So, yeah, nice to see that they're still muckers and they're still making music together. There's a song idea in that landlady story. Possibly. Apparently, Albert Lee is playing the Ark in Stockton this month. Oh, that'd be fun to see. Those of you regulars on the live stream, what have you, know that I had a beer once with Albert Lee. Fantastic bloke. It was at one of these Guitarist shows in, I think, 89 or 90, when he just discovered Music Man guitars, and he was in the bar. I was in the bar. went up for an autograph, got an autograph, had a chat and a beer with him. Nice bloke. Where are we? I saw Albert Lee a couple of years back. He was great. Yeah, I saw him. I've seen him a couple of times. The first place I saw him was actually in a venue that is about, or was about, 100 yards from my front door. There was an institution in on Teesside called the Red Car Bowl, which, you know, loads and loads of bands played there. Fleetwood Mac played there, you know, back in the Peter Green days. Just loads of people that you can, you know, kind of, you know, big stars that played there back in the day. And he played there in about 92 with, you know, Hogan's Heroes, his band, and they were absolutely on fire all night. And, you know, just what a nice bloke, what a great player, and what a nice bloke. He didn't remember me from the Guitarist show when I had a beer with him. Oh, thank you very much, Jason. Let's put you up on screen, mate. For Zoe's place, John, is there anything on guitar that you haven't learned that you still want to study? Yes. Just ask yourself, in any of the solos that I play, when was the last time that you heard me do any kind of fast alternate picking? Yeah, I'll get around to that in a sec, Vincent. When was the last time you heard me do any fast alternate picking? It's one of my weaknesses, that it has to be said. I can just about, you know, do the legato stuff and a bit of sweep picking and tapping. And when I need something a little bit kind of flashy and twiddly, then those are usually the things that I call upon. But fast alternate picking is the one box that I haven't quite ticked yet. Now, the Zoom Masterclass news. Yes, I said I had some news on that. Right. It's ready to go, basically. I've got what I'm calling a full dress rehearsal of it next week, where basically one of the chaps who's in the chat tonight is going to be my guinea pig, and I'm going to basically go through the whole thing with him on a Zoom call so I can time it and know how long it's going to be, and so I can say to people, okay, this is going to be a 3-hour event, a 4-hour event, whatever it's going to be, you know. So I've got a rough idea of the time, and you know, I can then start kind of selling tickets and so on and so forth. The other thing, which is an unknown variable at the moment, and I don't want to dwell on this, but it is only fair since you asked, is that I have a bit of a health situation going on at the moment where I'm going to have to be going for hospital appointments at various times, and I don't want to say, okay, the Zoom masterclass is this day, this time, and then it turns out I get a letter from the hospital saying I need to be, you know, kind of there, you know, for what I need to get done at the hospital at that particular moment. So I need to get that all kind of nailed down in the next week or so as well, and then I can let's say rough ballpark kind of figure, we're looking probably at November for this Zoom masterclass, probably the second half of November, most likely on a Sunday. So there we go. That's what I'm shooting for, and that's hopefully when it's going to be. And the tickets will be on sale via the website and via Patreon well in advance of that. So I suppose I've got about a month to sort of get things sorted out. But hopefully all of the different things that I'm kind of having to juggle around will be all you know, nailed down by then. So there you go. Okay, right. You're asking about the hospital stuff. The likelihood is that I have prostate cancer. The blood tests came, just the routine blood tests that you go for every so often as a middle-aged man, came back with some results that didn't look too good. And then I went to see the urologist, and he had an examination of the prostate. That's fun, by the way. He was wearing me like a bloody sock puppet. Anyway, so then that led to an MRI scan, and then that led to another appointment with the urologist. And basically there is a vanishingly small chance that it's just some kind of anomaly. But the likelihood is that, as I say, I have prostate cancer, and if there are basically two outcomes. One of which is that it's a form of prostate cancer that many men in their 50s get, which you live with for decades. It doesn't affect your quality of life, and you end up dying decades later of old age. The other is where you need treatment and radiotherapy, chemo, whatever, possibly even surgery. But even if it is that, it's been caught early enough that the treatment will work, and it's just take that big scary word out of the equation, cancer. Okay, take that out of the equation. What I've got is a condition that either does or doesn't need treatment. And if it does need treatment, then the treatment will kind of sort me out. That's where we're at with it. But as I say, it's going to be visits to the hospital and, kind of buggering up my routine, basically, which is the thing that I'm most annoyed about. So there you go. I hope he warmed his hands first. Yeah, he was wearing me like sooty. But that, I'm afraid, is all I'm going to say about that. It's not something I want to dwell on. It's not something I want to talk about. It's not something I don't want to be an object of, pity or sympathy or anything like that. I'm still me, and I'm still going to be here on a Friday, and I'm still going to be talking bollocks for an hour or so before I have me curry. And, so there we go. Let's draw a line under it and move on. Anyway, anyway, yes, as I was saying, what was I saying before that? I can't remember. We can look forward to your top 5 annoyances with the medical system. Yeah, that would be one where I would start off with. Well, actually, they've been really good about all of this. It has to be said. This side of things has worked like clockwork, and there are one or two things that, once all of this is over, once all of this kind of stuff is, boxed off, out the way, forgotten about, then I am going to be changing my GP surgery, but that's a whole other story. Anyway. Never stop the beer o'clocks. No, it would be a sad day when I couldn't have a beer on a Friday. And so mind you, as I say, I'm enjoying this Galahad. I haven't had it in ages, mainly because Galahad comes from Aldi, and Aldi is a bit of a schlep away from me at the moment. At the moment, it just is a bit of a schlep away from me. And if I'm as busy as I usually am, I don't have time to get there, so that the missus does a Morrison's order. But this is, if you're anywhere near a branch of Aldi and you want a good session lager, something you just kind of chug back and, spend all night kind of enjoying, Galahad, it's not a bad drop. As I think you can see. Anyway, dear me, I'm on to my last tin. I have to make this one last. Well, not my last one. There's a fridge full of them downstairs, but these are all the ones I brought up with us. Are you off, Dan? Well, I tell you, Dan, I'll send you an email tomorrow, mate, because I would love to share some of those photos you sent me. Honestly, chaps, the John Robson signature model number 3 that Dan sent me the pictures of is absolutely gorgeous. It is. Oh, they do great alcohol-free beer too. Yeah, it's no use to me, I'm afraid, Mike. No, if I'm going to have a beer, I want it to have the main ingredient, I'm afraid. Yeah, Dan's work on this number 3 John Robson signature model it's absolutely stunning. The guy who's buying it, who's bought it, actually, I suppose, he's ordered it in a different finish, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it looks... I do this every week, don't I? I can't resist. But this is a gorgeous looking guitar. I think you will agree. But in this other finish, this I think it's a red finish. It just looks it looks kind of, you know, PRS private stock kind of, you know, drop dead gorgeous, but not in a Liberace kind of way. Right, thanks for that, Dan. I will. I'll have a bit of an email back and forth with you, mate, and go and meet your fellow luthier. Little version is Excelsior. Nice drop. Yeah, we don't have a little near us, unfortunately. But you know, it's you know, Aldi is the place where aspirational little shoppers go, isn't it? Hi, John. You must be around my age. Do not visit the dock. I tell you, 26 years the last time for me. Gotta love Val Dams and Chesterfields. I'm not sure what you're talking about there, mate, but fair enough. Could you do more speed vids? Me fingers are stuck in third gear. Yeah, it's like, I mean, I know many of you say that I'm some kind of virtuoso guitarist. Oh, thank you, beer hounds. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Good health, mate. I know many of you say I'm, you know, this kind of guitar god. I don't really think that I am, you know. There are 13-year-olds all over YouTube who can play circles around me. So, I mean, I've done a couple of things on, you know, how I play fast when the need arises. I can do another one, but it's, you know, I did one, oh, dear me, I think it was last year sometime. So I suppose it's time to do something else on the topic of the twiddly stuff. So yeah, I'll stick it on the list, mate. You know, I'll take it under advisement. Yes, Aldi Saint Etienne is really good. That's that is a nice drop, that Saint Etienne, but it's 5%, and I find these days with a 5% beer that if I start at 5 o'clock on a Friday, you know, drinking with you chaps, if I'm on a 5% beer, then by 8:30, I'm starting to kind of flag a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm getting the droopy eyelids and whatever it is I'm trying to watch on the telly, because Friday night is the only time I really get a chance to watch a bit of telly. Then I'm starting to kind of lose it a little bit. On that topic, by the way, this evening's entertainment is after I finish talking to you chaps. There's a curry, of course. It's Friday. Curry Friday. It's the law. And then there's more beer. And then I've just discovered BritBox. So I'm well into the old series of Auf Wiedersehen Pet at the moment. And so that's what I shall be doing later. I joined a new band last night. I bought a steak to celebrate. There was definitely a spring in my step on the way to the shop. Well, good for you, mate. What's the new band? And when are we going to hear them? I hope you're going to post some stuff on YouTube. Chaps, there's a lady here. Yeah, let me put you up on screen there, Guitar Girl Tube. I use the word chaps in much the same way as all of the American YouTubers use the word guys. Okay, I've had a bit of flack for this in the past, because I start all the videos with "Hello, chaps," and I get some poor-faced, kind of lemon-sucking killjoy going, "Oh, you want to be more inclusive." Well, it is inclusive, I say chaps in the same way as the American YouTubers go, "Hi guys." It's a gender neutral form of address in this part of the world. So there you go. Thought you were going to watch my unboxing. Are you back live again on a Friday? Are you, Mike? Yeah, I'll stick that on while I'm waiting for the curry. What time is it? 6:30 you're on, is it? I shall make a point of that. Oh, I see we've got the Auf Wiedersehen pet references coming in there. Ali Fraser, nothing wrong with Mickey Mouse. Oz never did Walt Disney any harm. Indeed. Hey, that show would never get made these days, would it? I mean, especially the first series where they're in Germany. For anybody who doesn't know, Auf Wiedersehen Pet was a show that was on in the 80s in the UK, and it was about a bunch of bricklayers from the northeast of England who went and worked overseas as a kind of gang. And it was written by two of the most celebrated comedy writers in the UK, Dick Clement and Ian LaFrenne. And if ever you see anything that those two chaps have written, watch it. They ended up being quite the big Hollywood screenwriters. I think they ended up writing for I know that they certainly did the script or part of the script for that Sean Connery movie The Rock, where he's got to escape from Alcatraz and so on and so forth. But yeah, great series and lots of great memories for me. Yes, we're getting all the references here. Can I get more English than a curry? Says Oz. Oz was the character that, because I'm tall and because I'm from the northeast of England, when I was at college, everybody used to call me that. Well, some people used to call me it because it's just watch the show. It's fantastic. Classic comedy indeed, Stephen. Yes. Well, I've been prairie dogging. What's this? Let's put you up on screen now. Well, I've been prairie dogging it for a minute. Time to go drop the Cleveland Browns off at the Rose Bowl. Yes, I know what you're saying, mate. Yes, you're touching cloth, as we say in these parts. Fair enough, mate. Send us a postcard. Anyway, guitar is no longer a single male pursuit. Girls can outplay us and outdrink us. Yes. Well, that's always been the case, really, hasn't it? I mean, who remembers a band called Girls' School, for example? They were a cracking band, and they were, that was like the late 70s, early 80s, and they were a band that were thought of. I remember at the time the fact that they were an all-girl metal band. It was like, okay, yeah, they're a metal band, but they're all women, but they're a metal band, and it was like that was the main thing. They were just thought, and Lita Ford, there was another one. It wasn't, oh, she's a woman. It was just, yeah, okay, yeah. It was as remarkable as whether or not the singer had blonde hair or ginger hair. It was the music was the prime focus, really. I seem to remember anyway. Yeah, Girls' School did a single with Motorhead. they did, like, I don't know if Lemmy was involved in managing them or something, or whether they're on the same record label or something, but there was some kind, they did like a joint enterprise at one point. What about the 70s band Fanny? Yeah, brilliant band. Absolutely epic. That might be a topic for a video. Top 5 female guitar players. But see, the thing is, I don't like doing that, because then it's sort of siloing people. It's putting them in ghettos, isn't it? Like, it's I can see why you have men and women's categories in sport, but I don't think it matters in music. I think a good musician is a good musician regardless of what their plumbing is, basically. Oz, I'm going to put you up on screen there, Mike. Yes. Oz, you know the difference between a hedgehog and a ranger, didn't you? No. And a hedgehog's got pricks on the outside. Aye, classic line. Yes. Thank you, Johnny. Johnny Random. That's a £5 going to Zoe's place. Thank you so much. That will be passed on. I'll tell you what, when I pass on that Squire Strat that's going to them, I shall bundle up all of these donations that you chaps have chaps and chapesses, I should say, have very kindly kind of flung my way tonight. And every little helps, as they say. Where are we? Let's have a look in the chat, see what I've missed while I've been blethering. Oh dear me, the Slits. No, there was a band. Yeah. Yeah, that was all that kind of punk sort of stuff. And yeah, best forgotten about, best left as a fond memory, shall we say. Deirdre Cartwright. Oh dear me, yes, Deirdre Cartwright from Rock School. Yeah, I was watching that again. That was one of the videos that cropped up in my YouTube feed a couple of weeks ago, one of the old episodes of Rock School. If you've never seen it, just search YouTube for BBC Rock School. It was a show that was on in the 80s, where it was basically Sunday afternoons, I seem to remember it was, where they basically had a rock band in a TV studio teaching kind of music to aspiring rock stars. It was great. How do you make a donation? If you'd like to make a donation to Zoe's place, you can either do it in the super chat, but that takes a little bit of time to set up, or you can just Google Zoe's Place Baby Hospice, and their site will come up, and you can donate via their website. She did have a lovely PRS, Mike. Yeah, Deirdre from Rocks. I wonder what happened to her. It was a great show. I remember it very, very fondly. Anyway, chaps, it's coming up to the hour mark, and I'm starting to get hungry, and it's getting near to 6 o'clock, and the curry is turning up shortly after. So I'm going to call time on proceedings once again for this evening. So once again, thank you everyone for turning up and watching a fat, bald northern lad talk cobblers for an hour. I'll keep on doing it until you get sick of it. But for now, I've got to tell you, it's time, gentlemen, please.